Hey everyone, before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. I pulled up to Oak Ridge Manor on a Tuesday afternoon, my vehicle stuffed with cartons. The half-year assignment in Singapore had wrapped up, and I was finally heading back. The entry code failed. I punched it in 3 times before ringing my sibling Vanessa. The code got switched, I mentioned during a lull. We have to chat. Could you join me for coffee in the morning? I'm stuck at the entrance right now with everything I own. Another lull. All right, hang on a sec. The barrier swung open. I cruised along the well-known path, beyond the maple trees, beyond Mom's water feature. Vanessa's crossover was out front. So was Father's pickup and a lock expert's vehicle. I stopped and stepped out. From the glass panes, I spotted Vanessa's trio of youngsters dashing around inside. Michael, 14, hauled containers to the upper level. The twins bickered in the corridor. Vanessa stepped onto the veranda, calm and ready. You switched the entry code. I noted we had to boost protection without looping me in. You've been away for 6 months. I headed for the entrance, but Vanessa stood in my way. Let's discuss this outside first. Why? That's exactly what we must cover. Father came out, drying his palms. Sarah, you're home ahead of schedule. My deal finished right on time, didn't it? Well, your sibling and I have been discussing about what? Vanessa folded her arms. About the property. About what's logical for the relatives. From the open door, I watched the lock expert fitting a fresh latch. One of the twins darted by clutching a plush toy. Why the lock expert on site? I inquired. Protection improvement. The previous ones were from the start. And why are your youngsters racing about like it's theirs? Because we're settling in for good. I glanced at Father. He simply averted his gaze. The residence is oversized for just Father. Vanessa explained he's 72. He requires kin nearby. My union fell apart. The youngsters crave steadiness. This fits ideally. Ideally for whom? For all of us. Father gains company. We gain room. And me. Vanessa's face tightened. You've been absent 6 months. Prior to that, Chicago for 2 years. Prior to that, Los Angeles. You dropped by twice annually. I was raised here. Was it your residence? Father murmured softly. Your sibling's correct. She's present. She looks after me. You merely stopped by. So you're booting me out? Don't overreact. Vanessa stated. You have your profession? You don't require this spot. But you do. Yes, my youngsters do. Father does. Where's my stuff? Crated in the visitor bungalow. You can grab them anytime. You boxed my space without checking. You weren't around. Father at last locked eyes with me. Time to advance, Sarah. You're 35. You have a profession, a condo. This spot is for relatives. Who really dwell here? I am kin. You're not invited here, Vanessa declared. Not as a dweller. You can come for celebrations, but this is our residence now. The lock expert passed Vanessa the keys. She slipped them away without giving me any. You ought to head out. We have settling to handle. I eyed Father once more. He simply went back indoors. I grinned. In my bag was a paper I'd kept since hitting 30. Curious, I remarked. Vanessa's gaze sharpened. What's curious? The schedule, the guesses. I grabbed my cell phone and called property protection. Oak Ridge Manor Protection. This is Control. This is Sarah Thompson. I require a crew at the primary building right away. Unapproved residents and a latch swap issue. Vanessa turned ashen. What are you up to? My role as the proprietor. Proprietor. Father owns this land. No, I do. The control operator verified. Ma'am, records list you as the main proprietor. Do you require police? Not yet. Just dispatch the crew with the central key setup. Father returned. Sarah, what's happening? When did you last cover land taxes? He flickered. Vanessa manages that. Vanessa, when did you last cover taxes? Her quiet spoke volumes. I've handled them for 5 years. 38,000 yearly. Plus coverage, protection, repairs, agreements. Vanessa regained speech. That's impossible. Settled doesn't mean cost-free. There are taxes, coverage, maintenance. Who did you figure covered it? The property fund, Father said weakly, which emptied 3 years post Mom's passing. I've managed it all. Two dark crossovers bearing protection emblems entered the path. Vanessa advanced. Father, instruct them to depart. But father was fixed on me. The papers, the ones you had me initial. I figured they were property strategy. They were handover docs. Mom bequeathed the property to me. She knew I'd manage it. I've covered every expense for 5 years while traveling globally for work. The protection head neared. Miss Thompson, we got your notice on unapproved latch swaps. This is my sibling Vanessa and my father Daniel. They're dwellers, but they swapped latches without my okay. We'll have to rekey all, and I'll require fresh approval rosters. Vanessa's tone quivered. You can't pull this. Father resides here and they're fine to remain as dwellers, not proprietors. A lady with a device advanced. Miss Thompson, I hold land docs. The title handover from Margaret Thompson to Sarah Thompson was filed 5 years back. You're the only proprietor. Daniel Thompson has a lifetime residence term. Father dropped heavily onto the veranda stairs. A lifetime residence? That's what it signified. It signifies you can stay here as long as desired, I explained softly. It signifies you're safeguarded, supported. It signifies no one can evict you. But it also signifies you don't possess it. I do. Vanessa's fists tightened. This is crazy. You deceived him. I did no such thing. Mom's directive was explicit. Father initialed the docs with his lawyer there. All was lawful and open. The sole one unaware was you since it wasn't your concern. Not my concern. This is my kin residence. No, it's my land. You've resided here lease-free at my allowance, consuming meals I've funded indirectly via father's shopping account that I support, using power and water I cover, relishing a residence I upkeep. The protection crew was already handling the latches. The lock expert appeared puzzled, trapped between rival commands until the protection head displayed docs that clarified the true authority. Michael reached the entrance, feeling the strain. Mom, what's going on? Vanessa's gaze welled with moisture. Your aunt is evicting us. I'm doing nothing like that, I stated solidly. But we are setting limits. This is my land. Father stays here under a lifetime residence. You and your youngsters are visitors. Invited visitors, but visitors all the same. Father glanced up at me. All these years you've covered it all. Yes. Why not mention it? Because Mom requested I not. She knew you'd feel bad. She knew you'd reject aid. So she bequeathed the property to me with directions to support you discreetly, to allow you to feel self-reliant while ensuring your safety. But the expenses, the taxes. I have a solid job, Father. A highly solid job. The advisory role compensates nicely. I can manage it. That's not the issue. Vanessa cut in. You allowed us to believe this was ours. You allowed me to plan, relocate my relatives. You never inquired, I noted. You guessed. You swapped latches on land you don't possess. You created my items without okay. You ousted the true proprietor while placing your youngsters in her youth sleeping area. The protection had cleared his voice. Ms. Thompson, we've restored the main latches. You'll decide the entry roster. I eyed Vanessa at her youngsters, observing from within at Father seated on the stairs appearing aged and more bewildered than ever. Father remains on the complete entry roster. I declared Vanessa, and the youngsters can have visitor codes that I okay. The visitor bungalow is theirs if desired, but the primary building stays Father's dwelling and my land. The visitor bungalow. Vanessa's tone was edged. We have 3 youngsters. We can't squeeze in the visitor bungalow. Then you'll seek other lodging. I'm glad to allow you search time. 30 days feels fair. 30 days? Where do I go? You're capable, Vanessa. You'll manage just like you managed to swap my latches. Father rose gradually. Sarah, this is severe. Your sibling just exited her spouse. The youngsters require steadiness and they'll get it, but not by taking my residence. Not by barring me from my own land. Not by guessing they're due something another possesses and upkeeps. I face the protection head. Configure the fresh entry codes. I want logs of all who come and go, and I want the central key setup locked down. Already handled, ma'am. Vanessa eyed Father pleadingly. Will you allow her this? Father massaged his cheeks. It's her land, Vicky. Seemingly, it has been for 5 years. But she was never present. And still, She covered it all, he murmured softly. Every bit. While I lounged here believing the property managed itself, I retrieved the paper from my bag. The title, the handover docs, the lifetime residence term, and passed it to Father. Mom wanted you safeguarded, I explained. She wanted you to have a dwelling for as long as required. That's why she passed me the property. Not because she cherished you less, but because she knew I'd ensure your support. He scanned the docs gradually, his palms shaking a bit. I initialed this. I recall now. The lawyer said it was for my safeguard. It was. It did. And it continues. You can stay here eternally if desired. That's your entitlement. But Vanessa is fine as a visitor. Her youngsters are fine as visitors, but they don't get to swap my latches and seize my residence while I'm abroad working to cover it. The twins joined Michael, all three youngsters appearing unsure. They'd shifted from thrilled about their fresh spaces to puzzled about the protection presence and the grown-up dispute. I eased my tone. The visitor bungalow is really pleasant. It has 3 sleeping areas, a complete cooking space, a sitting area. Vanessa and the youngsters would settle nicely. Vanessa dried her gaze. I figured this was kin land. I figured we all had fair share. Kin doesn't mean fair possession. It means fair affection, fair regard. But you didn't offer me that. You swapped latches, crated my items, and said I wasn't invited, all while dwelling on my land on my funds. Father returned the papers to me. I'm regretful. I should have realized. Should have probed more. You were mourning. Vanessa was aiding you. I was fine staying behind the scenes, as long as all was managed. But now all know the facts. Now we set clear limits. Now we all grasp what's actual and what was guessed. The protection crew completed their tasks and passed me a bunch of keys, the central keys to my own land. Keys I'd never truly grasped before since I'd never required them. Vanessa rounded up her youngsters. Come on, let's head to the bungalow. Can we still swim in the pool? One of the twins questioned. I eyed Vanessa, then the youngsters. Yes, you can swim in the pool and the yards. And you're fine to dine with Grandpa in the primary building, but you rest in the bungalow. And you recall that this isn't your land. After they departed, Father and I rested on the veranda stairs side by side. The protection crew was loading up, their tasks complete. I feel like an idiot, Father said. You're not an idiot. You're a bereaved man who relied on his offspring. That's not idiotic. I allowed Vanessa to persuade me you didn't value this spot. I've always valued. I just valued from afar. That's unlike not valuing. Will you remain now that you're returned? I pondered my urban condo, my advisory role that sent me worldwide, the existence I'd created beyond Oak Ridge, sometimes when possible. But I'll continue covering the expenses, maintaining operations, and ensuring your support. Like you have constantly, like I vowed to Mom I would. He draped his arm over my shoulders. She selected. Well, I understand that now. Within the building, I could view my former sleeping area where Vanessa's girl had been arranging her items. Tomorrow, those items would shift to the visitor bungalow. Tomorrow, my space would be mine once more when I opted to occupy it. But tonight, I'd likely rest in the city since confirming possession wasn't identical to sensing belonging. The protection head neared once more. Ms. Thompson, we've refreshed all our files. You're verified as main contact and proprietor. If any further unapproved swaps occur, we'll notify you instantly. Thank you. After they departed, I strolled through the building with Father. Vanessa had already altered things. Fresh seating in the sitting room, varied drapes, a youngster's play space arranged in what was Mom's office. Some of this can remain, I noted, if it renders the building more habitable for you. But big alterations require my okay. Got it. And Father, I meant my words. You can stay here as long as desired. That's fixed. Mom ensured it, and so will I. He nodded, emotion heavy in his tone. Your mother was a clever lady. She was. She understood protecting those she cherished. From the pain, I could view Vanessa and the youngsters shifting items into the visitor bungalow. It would be tight, uneasy, a distant second from the expansive sleeping areas they seized in the primary building. But it was kind given their attempt. My cell phone hummed. A message from Vanessa. I'm regretful. I truly figured Father possessed this spot. I replied, Guesses are costly now, you know. She didn't reply. I paused in the entrance of my former sleeping area, eyeing the containers Vanessa had filled. My youth, my recollections hurriedly crammed into paperboard by someone who figured I didn't fit here. But I did fit. Not because I dwelt here, but because I possessed it, because I'd sustained it, because Mom had entrusted me with it. The property was mine. It always had been. The change was now all new.